Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, July 22, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to discuss the craziness on certain things and why certain things aren't happening, and then why other things are happening, and then the things in between that don't make sense. The child does not awaken to life through instruction, but through the presence of a soul who has remembered their own. David Steindl Rast. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with joy, yet they become not to you. Khalil Gibran. Infinite patience is the portal to peace. You want to make sure that you're in a comfortable position, no outside distraction, that you're relaxed into your body, still as a statue, focused on your breath rising and falling. The first step is asking ourselves the question, how can I be more patient in this moment? The element of timelessness is the way of the enlightened wizard, one who lives in a state of samadhi and is not hooked or grasped by the concept of time. Most people believe this 12-hour clock imposed on humanity several hundred years ago is what time actually is. Yet, it is actually a pressure cooker that causes at least 90% of all stress and problems in this world. When we let go of this mechanical time framework and live in the timelessness of our spiritual essence, we enter a realm of infinite patience with our child, our friend, our lover, our spouse, and everything becomes much, much easier. Gentleness is the embodiment of God. The second approach is asking, how can I be more gentle with them or myself in this moment? Gentleness is a visceral, lived experience of kindness and connection. It is the softening of the nervous system as we open our hearts and feel the preciousness of their life. We're talking about the children. It means truly sensing what they mean to us if they were to die today. To be truly gentle is to care with every fiber of every cell in our body. It is to love deeply and eternally without a script or agenda. Gentleness is more than kindness. It is the essence of what love truly is. Patience is the backbone of gentleness, because only with infinite patience can gentleness fully bloom. Listening is the highest devotion. Third foundation of enlightened parenting is deep listening. When we are truly listening to our child, we absorb everything they are thinking, feeling, and needing in that moment. We tune into their deeper needs, discovering what they really want beneath the surface behavior. Sometimes it's as simple as a hug, or bringing them closer in some way, energetically, physically, or emotionally, with warmth and presence. We listen not only to their words, but to their energy, and we listen from a space connected to their higher self. What does their higher self actually want right now? Often they don't know, especially when they are small. They may cry or push away or reach for something they think they want, only to change their mind a moment later. This constantly shifts. As they grow and develop a personality, they become more rigid in what they think they want. But even then, it may not be what they truly want. It is what they believe they want. Our role as a parent is to help them discover their true desire, which begins by deeply listening. We tune in like a radio, feeling for the exact channel and frequency of who they are. This is the core foundation of enlightened parenting. When we are listening with every fiber of our being, we align with the highest form of love. We care so deeply that we are willing to use every sense, especially our psychic third eye, to receive a clear, precise perception of what is really going on. And this level of perception can only happen when the mind is quiet and infinitely patient. The sacred bridge to the other parent. The next principle is about bringing all of the qualities of patience, gentleness, and listening into the relationship we created with the child, with whether we are in relationship with them or not, whether it is the mother, the father, our lover, or ex, we are still called to embody these qualities. Why? Because they are the other half of the child. The foundation of what the child receives is based on this sacred combination of masculine and feminine, held in balance. And when a child is raised by two beings who love each other, or at the very least treat each other with respect and presence, they feel safe. That feeling of safety becomes the foundation of their highest development. The child feels held in a net of love that carries them through life. So that the way we treat our parent is essential, our co-parent. They must be treated as our best friend with all the principles above: listening, gentleness, and infinite patience. And the great return to the self. The final and perhaps most vital teaching is this: if we apply these principles to ourselves, they naturally spill outward onto our child, our spouse, and everyone we meet. And when we give patience to our triggers, gentleness to our pain, and deep listening to our own unmet needs, something profound begins to shift. We begin to heal the legacy. We soften the lineage. And we offer our children the most precious gift of all: a free and conscious future. When these 5 principles are lived, they form an inner scaffolding of trust. Trust in our child, trust in our partner, and most of all, trust in ourselves. This trinity of trust becomes the living soil from which everything sacred can grow. And the most beautiful fruit of all is that our child begins to trust themselves. And when a child grows up feeling trusted, they come to believe in their own voice. They learn to listen to their body, speak from their heart, and follow their inner knowing with confidence and joy. This self-trust is the foundation of a liberated life and the truest success of a parent can ever offer. Trust allows us to slow down and be fully present with life, not because it is always easy, but because presence itself becomes the refuge. And when trust becomes the ground of our being, honest, heartfelt, communication flows like water returning to the sea. Listening becomes a sacred attunement with what is unseen and unspoken. Respecting our co-parent anchors the soul of the family and wholeness. And when we apply gentleness inward, we dissolve the karmic bindings that once defined our lineage and begin to rewrite the story from love. So, I talk a lot about the children of this planet. I should talk more. And the children to come is one of the saving graces of the civilization's success and forward movement. The children come in, but they aren't taught. They're programmed. And so they don't know. Maybe along the way, they grow up and then they bump into things and they discover on their own. But imagine them discovering and knowing in the beginning and setting things in place like a God-planet paradise, heart-mindedness, peace, joy, bliss, tranquility, benevolence of oneself. And this is a big change and a big shift. This isn't religion. You know, people might say, well, that's kind of like religion, going to church. No, nothing like religion. It's where the parents comprehend that the child that they bring in has to be, it's their decision, nurtured, loved, tended to, guided, and informed about who and what they are. And then the process of interfacing and interacting with the mother and the father. But see, there's so many that have been programmed. So we go through this repetitiveness with the children. And the children are ignored a lot because we don't realize that the children take position eventually as adults. And whatever they're seeing, whatever they're being programmed, is what they're going to carry through their lives. And this is apparent with the child population of planet Earth. Because what we have is we have all these children being exposed to what? Well, just look. Most adults are having a difficult time handling this massive shift. Now, what do you think? Children can perceive, and they're not really, I call it bent. They're still looking and absorbing and wondering. Imagine what this does to the children. It's like a lecture or a presentation, and it seems never ending. So we wonder why, generation after generation, just in this country alone, why the children who became adults are so in the dark. So they were taught a certain way, influenced a certain way, programmed a certain way. And this is the only reason why they choose to do what they do. Now, some children are fortunate enough that they have parents that are in tune with themselves, so they teach the child how to become in tune with itself. And when you see violence and you see this and you see that, and then they hear the parents talking and stressing and fearing, and it's a programming process. And we sure as heck do not care to program the next generation into blind-eyed, not knowing who and what they are, embracing religion, and learning falsities, and then applying those through life. So, we get a lot of things that are interpreted wrongly because it's perception on how we view it. And all of us have different perspectives for the most part. You think children are any different? No. They're just more open, footloose, fancy-free. They're not afraid to speak out and say things, at least not at first. And we've got to take responsibility and turn that corner, because look what we're at the current time. The most important thing right now on this planet is the survival of the species of planet Earth. They call it mankind, humanity, whatever you want to label it. To pull it out of extinction. To eliminate religion. And to start teaching the children spirituality, which means that's what they are, spirit. Not some guy on a cross, not somebody else or that at one time walked the earth. We're talking about spirituality, that we are all gods that make up the one God, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever. Not many children are told that. In fact, not many children even know what God is. See, this is the root. You ever notice when we look at things, at least, let's say just in our country, we look at things, but we never get to the root of the problem. We don't research it. What's the root that causes this issue? What's the catalyst? What is causing it? All we do is we throw stuff at it and try to treat it. And mental, physical, you name it. But we don't go in and find the root. And then dissolve the root so that whatever it is gone. This is the true application of comprehending. Now, a long time ago, of course, we would go into a pharmacy, but the pharmacy was everything. The pharmacy would give us herbs and applications and tinctures to heal us. And the hospitals were archaic. And there weren't that many services in the hospital. And they didn't know a lot either. So a lot of us would go to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist would grind up this and that and give it to you and give you, what you take. But we have lost sight of the fact that everything that we are exposed to has what? It has a solution to the root problem. But we never discover that, very rarely. Why? Because we're trained, just like the children are trained, that, no, you go here and you have this man or woman tell you what's wrong with you. And that goes across the board, not just that, but in everything. And so we begin to realize that we treat things, we treat our emotions, we treat our physical abnormalities, we treat them, we do not cure them. Isn't that interesting? When we all have the ability to do that. And you can look at everything, you look at it, and you'll see that they don't go after a solution. And they don't go after the root cause. Have you ever noticed that? Whatever it may be. What's the root cause of the civilization going extinct? What is the root cause? Not enough children to support it. Not enough young children coming in to replace those that are dying off. Well, how did that happen? Well, because what is the root of the problem on coupling, on intercourse, on having babies, on the religion, on the spirituality, and the knowing? See, it's huge. It's a whole different ballgame. And then you talk to a lot of young couples, they say, there's no way I'd bring a child into this mess. See how it affects a lot of things? And it changes the perception of the civilization. And so as time goes by, without us knowing about it, it's like the story I told about Easter Island. Time goes by, you don't notice it. You really don't. You're so far into it. And you realize that, holy cow, our civilization has shrunk to the point where it can't recover. And I am totally in favor of what's the root? What's the root source that caused this? And then what's the solution? See, everybody's got problems. So we try to fix the problems. We don't really talk about what's the solution to the problem. And then review our different options and our decisions that we make. What's the solution to the problem? So you kind of go, okay, well, here's the solution. And I've researched it, and this is what it is. To apply the solution and the problem. It is that simple. But then, of course, you have to burn through all the programming and how you were raised and how you were influenced and how you are being influenced right now. And it's all about our perception. It's what we perceive, how we view things. And it's our personality and our character that we got when we were kids. What's the solution to all the shenanigans going on the planet? What's the solution to it? Unify. Love each other and one another. It isn't rocket science. Be truthful, honest with oneself and everything else. You imagine what that's a solution to the different situations that we are all being presented with. Do we spend time, and there's the word time, which is a construct. And what's time? Time is an imprisoned tool. You heard me say it's over 90% of all the stress on the planet. Have you ever been in a situation where stress isn't there? Where you're not looking at your watch, you take your watch off, you don't have your cell phone, you don't know what time it is, and you are okay with that. And you feel light. You feel relaxed. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel hurried. And then eventually the worry and the stress and the fear that you've got to get here and you've got to go there and, you can't just sit and relax because you've got things to do. That is all time motivated, time influence. We're so structured on time, it's unreal. What would happen if all of a sudden all the clocks and all the timekeeping devices and everything vanished? There was no clocks anywhere. Nothing. You couldn't find a clock anywhere. Nothing on your television, nothing on the internet, nothing. It was all gone. There was no time. Be interesting, wouldn't it? We would adapt. We would use the sun as keeping track of the days. So this, like we used to. So the sun would rise and we would be active. And the sun would go down, we would slumber. This is how we did it a long time ago. We weren't under stress so much as compared to now. I mean, you got your smartphone clock, you got your computer clock, you got your watch clock. It's got clock everywhere. Clock in your car, clock everywhere you look. Think about it. Always look, and then you find yourself looking at the time, looking at the time, looking at the time. So it's kind of like you get to the point where don't you get tired of the time? I mean, don't you just say, I just don't care to have, all this stuff that keeps track of what? Is time relevant? No. It isn't relative. It isn't relevant. Because it just enslaves us, and it pressures us, and it pushes us, and it hurries us, and it rushes us. Right? How much time do I have left? That's pressure, stress. I got to get this done on time. I got to get here at this time. Oh, geez, I'm late. I'm not going to make it. I mean, there's thousands of situations that arise from time. And we're structured. It's like children, it's like everything else. We've got to decide on our own to drop all the rhetoric, all the crap and garbage that we've been programmed with, and start ascending into light beingness, staying in a high vibrational frequency. Because if you don't, you're in the shite. You're in the crap, the muck. Frustration, where most people are on this planet in this very moment. Frustrated, stressed, filled with anxiety. All that does is it creates an external disassemblance. It affects all the molecular structure in the atmosphere around you. And then it draws in other things that are at that frequency. And it doesn't matter what we're experiencing with ourselves or anything out there. We focus on what we want. And it's tough because it's a real challenge, because when you're focusing on something you want, and we're designed, we have been literally programmed to focus on what we don't want. It's true. And then we don't believe that we have the power to manifest what we want. And then we doubt ourselves, and it all goes away. And you keep doing it and keep doing it until you finally master or overcome the ego mind, which is the adjutant. Ego mind's the adjutant. Okay? It's the agitator. And it wants you to be with it and not you to be with your heart mind. And things, you could either look at things as doom and gloom or look at things with sunshine and blue sky. And it's not wishful thinking, because it's believing in our own power that we can literally circumvent, restructure, or shift in the direction that we want to be in. No one else is going to do it for you. It's not going to be something that comes out of the heavens and it fixes everything for you. It's you. It's like I've said, we have everything we'll ever need on this lifelong, this endless journey. We do. We have everything we'll ever need. Huge. Huge. Absolutely huge. And then we begin to discover and say, I didn't need to do all this stuff. What do you do all this stuff for? It's not a positive. So I'm not going to do this stuff anymore. We get agitated, and then we don't know what the solution is because we don't know what the root cause is. It always goes back to the root cause. It's like when you're having a challenge with something, okay, what's the root cause of this? What is the root to all this happening? What is the instigator? What is it? You know, it's like the old saying, your children are only borrowed. You know, you take care of them, you get it to a certain point, and then they're on their own. The purpose of children is to keep the species of civilization alive, moving forward, and thriving. Not to what? That people try to ignore on this planet. To ignore all the things that are being done to our children on a daily basis from beginning, from birth, all the way through. You ever notice that no one is just like no one's paying attention? No one is focused on that, and no one is really talking about it. Isn't that strange? No one is focused on it, no one's talking about it. Really, there's a few mentioned here and there, but nothing extensive. You know, it was a big thing a long time ago, well, it seems like a long time ago, when Trump in 2016, his first term, and he was running around and, you know, supposedly with the ships and the white sheets and everything and the tents coming up from underground. And some of us saw that stuff, right? He had videos on the internet and stuff. And that kind of just disappeared, didn't it? And we've got to, as a people, we have to stop eating each other. I know that sounds strange, but it's true. We've got to stop eating each other, which is also diminishing our species. And we've got to stop fouling our children, eating them and sexually abusing them. I mean, this all is connected to the survival of this civilization. There's different pieces taking chunks out of our civilization, right? And you notice that we're not, as a people, we're not going to the root cause of it. What's the root cause? Well, it's been going on so long. There's a lot of twisted people on the planet. They're just twisted. And they view things differently. And it's a mixture. And that's part of the root problem. That's part of the root of the problem. See, we don't realize that there are those that should not be allowed to enter the social structure of this planet. Should not be able to enter the civilization. It's like anything, okay? You're not going to go to bed with a sheet that's all soiled and smelly and everything. No, you're going to throw it away. And you try to wash it, and you can't get it done. You can't get it washed. But we are collectively, as a species of people, the root problem are the things that we have to eliminate. We have no choice. Well, we do. We have a choice to ignore it and just let it happen and let it expand and continue like it's been doing for thousands of years. Or we stop it. And this is the habit, you comprehend the habit that we've gotten into is relying on others to do it for us. And you don't learn that way. Okay? And then judge those that are doing those things because you don't want to. Right? I mean, how many people are looking for, the Calvary, looking for to be saved, looking for things to clear up and clean up and boom, and it's all done. Yeah, but you don't experience that. So what do you experience? You experience things that you design for you. Believe it or not, whether consciously or unconsciously. And so those things that you design are based on what you feel you want or need. And right now, in the quiet time of this meditation, you focus on what is the root cause of no peace. What's the root cause of it? And then when we focus on the root cause, we get a lot of answers. And so when we get a lot of answers, we start formulating things. And we start structuring things and say, okay, so here's the solution to what is the root issue. Not surface, that's not superficial, but deep in the root issue. What is the root cause of it? And then here's the solution. So we design the solution for the root cause, and it's gone. It's eliminated. It's just like with the children and the abuse of these children on this planet, which is huge. What's the root cause? The people that are twisted, that should not be allowed in this civilization. It's true. Because it's something that is a sickness that is, you can't get it out. It's there. It's an inheritance when those people are born. And it's created by others and so on and so forth. So it's the programming that we have to shift on and change on with ourselves, the children, the babies, our civilization, moving it from a very unhealthy situation to a very expanding, prospering, thriving situation. That's the root issue of planet Earth. That's it. Above everything else, that's the root issue. And if we don't do it, and we don't implement the tools and vehicles that we have at our disposal to do it, then we're gone. It's as simple as that. Before you know it, there's so few of us that there's no way of saving the civilization. We die off. That's it. Eventually you die off. That's our choice. It's not doom and gloom. It's fact. And it's a knowing. And until we come to grips with it, and we have finally identified what? The root of the entire problem. And then we formulate the solution or solutions to the root problem. You see, we're so preoccupied with so many things that we're in the storm and not outside of it. We're in it. And it's really difficult to differentiate or to really value anything because it's just a hodgepodge mix match of all kinds of crap flying around. But doesn't it make sense that the well-being of this species is number one by far? No sicknesses, no diseases, all of this stuff. And it's up to us. It's not up to anybody else. It's not up to a government. You want to call it a government. It's not up to a group of people that lead and do what basically they want to do in most cases. It's up to us. Who's affected? You are. Doesn't it make sense that you should be the one to decide? Collectively? I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focused on your breath rising and falling, relaxed into your body. It is time to release any mental, emotional, or physical inner wounds you are holding on to, so that you are more open and receptive to the divinity within. For today, redirect your attention towards the most soft, gentle, loving, healing energy you can imagine. Perhaps it's Mother Mary, a new puppy, a soft, fuzzy blanket, or receiving a massage from a divine healing master. Whatever you focus on, let yourself soften and welcome the relaxing, healing vibrations all throughout your body. This gentleness will help you heal in more ways than you know. Imagine a soft, healing energy is penetrating every cell in your body throughout the day today. Notice how your face changes in the mirror when you are focusing on this healing energy. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, July 23, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.